K8 BYP with networks part 5. Still plugging away at it. Got a little free time between the Drake driving me up a wall trying to get the errors out of the mechanical VFO, and finding that the dingbats put a great big hole in the chassis right under this uber sensitive VFO where there's tons of hot air drifting up through it. So I had to block that off, but enough of my whining. But Pi Network, last video theorized capacitors were very lossy. They probably were. They were not rated by the manufacturer for RF. So I made a capacitor. Back to the 1920s. That's a 100 and approximately, I didn't measure it with a precision thing, but just with the LCR meter, 167 puff. That's polystyrene dielectric. Polystyrene has a very low dissipation factor. Still got to be tested. So that's not final form of the capacitor, but that will be suitable for RF use at that frequency. It's just copper discs and polystyrene sheet from Hobby Lobby, K&S Engineering. Very, very simple to make. Just make sure the surfaces are smooth so nothing pokes through the dielectric. But with that in the circuit, and the scope I'm absolutely in love with, we turn on 5.88 volts into 1730 ohms, which should be the input. And out we get, turning up some intensity, we get, drum roll please, 0.246.8, 900 millivolts. It's up a noticeable amount from the previous example, and it's a bit less capacitance. So it's been improved considerably, but it's not quite right yet. And if I can show it without sticking my clumsy fingers across the points, when I throw on another 12 picofarad, throw on 12 picofarad, then it becomes just real close to 1 volt, 24685 divisions, 0.2, 1 volt. So that is very close. And I get to play with this cool scope. I just love that spectrum analyzer. 2.4 gigahertz extended range and all rebuilt. And just, that's analog. That's just mind-boggling. So there it is. There'll still be some probably losses in those little Toco cans. Those are far from what's right, but there's something to start with, an initial assumption. So then I need to go to something with the real toroid inductors, which is a cat skinning adventure to try to wind those puppies with polyamide tape, but that's a reasonable approximation of what the real thing will be. So next time I'll have a couple of toroids and the big funky selenium stack rectifier type capacitor. KBYP did.